We are 45 minutes away from kickoff at Old Trafford, and the team lineups have been announced. There's a few shocks in there. That is our breaking news, and we're going to go straight over and have a little look at both team lineups for Manchester United versus West Ham this evening. Let's kick off with us, the Hammers. We've gone with Areola in goal, Wan-Bissaka, Todibo, Mavropanos and Juve as a back four. Potts, Magassa, Fernandes, Souček, Bowen and Wilson leading the line. Now that was a bit of a shock when I saw it, to be totally honest. The subs bench reads Hermanson, Walker-Peters, Kilman, Rodriguez, Irving, Earthy, Marshall, Conte and Mayers. I don't think you will ever find a weaker Premier League bench if you try. To be honest, that is rather poor. Instant reactions, that is, I was a bit shocked when I saw Wilson starting. I thought Füllkrug would start tonight, but he's not even on the bench. And also, we currently have one that we were aware of, fit winger at the football club, Louis Guilherme, and we're currently hearing reports that he's just been dropped from the squad entirely, purely on a decision from Nuno Espirito Santo. Of course, we will get that verified and confirmed in the coming days, but it seems really bizarre when you've got Crysencio Summerville still out. Louis Guilherme, you're right, he isn't a polished player, but he's a left winger, and to leave him out of the whole squad, from what we're hearing, is not an injury or an illness. It may well be. We will get more reaction to that as and when we get it, but that seems particularly bizarre. Of course, Paqueta with a one-match suspension, so Souček was the obvious person to fill in that gap, and he had no choice but to start Bowen, really, didn't he? There's not a hell of a lot else there with this paper-thin squad, so it's not filled me with a lot of confidence. And then, to make matters worse, I then had a little look at the Manchester United lineup. They've done it in number order, which is irritating. So it's Lamans in goal. I've got to try and work this out now. So it's Dalot, Mazraoui, Shaw, and I'm missing a defender. Anyway, Casemiro, Ahmad, Bruno Fernandes, Heaven, I presume, is a defender. Interesting name. Look, there's the lineup. You can read it. Mbeumo, Cunha, two key, important and pivotal players for Manchester United for me, alongside Bruno Fernandes, who's pictured there. On that bench, you've got Mount, who scored on Sunday at Selhurst Park. Looks like he's coming into a little bit of form, but starts on the bench tonight. Undoubtedly, it's a pretty strong starting lineup, and when you play it on paper, we fall short. But of course, as we well know, football is not played on paper. So, I'm not too confident. I haven't got much confidence, to be honest. I think we have a squad on the verge of collapse with a couple of injuries, to be totally honest. I mean, all we've got to do is look at that bench tonight. I'll reintroduce it. Look at that bench. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 of those players are, youth under 23s out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So nearly half of our bench is under 23s there. And then one of them's a keeper. One of them's Rodriguez, who's useless. One of them's Irving, who is not a lot better. So it's an appalling bench, and it doesn't scream anything else. But if those 11 don't do it, then we're struggling tonight. Maybe it's an opportunity for the likes of Earthy, Marshall, Conte, and Mayers to potentially get a run out tonight. But I can't see it. And I was just listening to the opening segment on Sky, and Super Slaven Bilic was alongside Roy Keane there. And I think he was watching the show last night, because he echoed my thoughts on how Moyes went to Old Trafford and he laid out the blueprint of being solid at the back and defending and trying to nick that goal and frustrating Manchester United and sitting back and hopefully backing our defensive ability and saying to Man United, break us down, because they couldn't do it with Everton last Monday. That is also a risky game, and obviously that's not what 3,000 away fans want to see when they've travelled 4 or 5 hours up in miserable weather on a Thursday afternoon. They want to see us have a go a little bit, but I feel like if we try and match them man for man and have a go, we're playing right into their hands tonight. Mbeumo, Cunha, Fernandes, they're good, pacey, electric players who could completely rip us a new one. So we need to be conservative tonight. I've got no doubt about that. The extent of it needs to be monitored. It needs to be sort of dictated depending on the tempo of the game. I'm not expecting us to come out all guns blazing tonight. I think that would be quite cowardly. We are going to be pretty defensive and solid and reserved about it, and hopefully pick our moments and try and capitalise as and when we see fit. It's about game management. It's about players standing up tonight. This game, it was always important, but it was given increased importance when Leeds went and beat Chelsea by 3-1 last night at Ellen Road, lodging a 3-point gap between us and safety. So again, if we win by 2 goals tonight, we're out of that relegation zone. But I don't think many West Ham fans could at all envisage that happening. So the fact and reality of it is we're probably going to be in the relegation zone at the end of the evening. We go into Brighton, Villa, Man City, tough games, and we need to be switched on and alert to that and somehow try and find something to clutch to. Sharky, good evening. I hope you are well. Potts and Magassa can shine this game. We can get Israel, I think. I really do hope so. I mean, we'd all take a point right now, wouldn't we? Magassa was a positive. I thought you played okay on, was it Sunday? It was Sunday against Liverpool, and he gets another run out tonight. That seemed all but confirmed and seemed logical for that to happen. It's going to be interesting to see this midfield without Lucas Paqueta. Souček's going to bring a bit of physicality. He's going to bring some height and not really mobility, but definitely height and threat from corners in both boxes as well. A bit of a presence defensively, and then hopefully a threat going forward. So it's going to be interesting to see with the midfield of Potts, Magassa, and Souček tonight. Fernandes is in there as well, so I don't quite know how he's going to, manage it, because one of those players has got to play on the left wing, and that was what was so visibly staggering against Sunday, how Liverpool had Joe Gomez, not a left back, at right back. My apologies. They didn't have a right back at right back, and we didn't have anyone on the left wing. I couldn't get my head around it. It was just a vacant area. It's like we'd neglected it. We were like, oh, we haven't got a player there. We'll just leave it. We cannot do that again tonight. We need to have somebody out there, and whether it's going to be Fernandes, it may well be tonight. He's got some legs, got a bit of energy. It's not his natural position, but he's dropped Guilherme for whatever reason from the entire squad. So he's made his bed, Nuno, and let's hope he's got a plan. Otherwise, he's just gonna have to lie in it and hope for the best. I'm not confident at all. Let's try and get out of this as best we can. Try and nick a point somehow. I don't know how, but football's a funny game in that sense. 3-1. I'm presuming after Man United, maybe West Ham, maybe there's a bit of confidence there, but 3-1 Man United is what the gut is telling me, to be honest. Smash the like button if you haven't already. Evening, Andy, I hope you're well. I'm going for a 1-1 draw. I'd love that. I'd love that to happen. Let's have a look here. If I'll press on the okay, everything's just froze. There we go. Heaven is playing for Man United, and we've got Earthy on the subs bench. Exactly. That tells you everything you need to know. When we haven't got a natural winger on there, then utilise somebody from the under-23s to fill that role. Bizarre. Really, really bizarre. I'm all up for being proven wrong tonight from Nuno, but it was a slightly bewildering lineup when I saw it, and especially with the decision that our only fit left winger has been left out. I'm not saying Guilherme is going to rip up any trees, but he's going to provide a bit of balance and composure to us, and that's what we're going to be missing. I really do hope we can find something tonight. But I mean, he's had the balls, he's dropped them, he's dropped Füllkrug for whatever reason, whether there's been a disagreement, some sort of issue, I don't know, but there were many people, including myself, that was expecting Nicholas Füllkrug to be starting tonight. He's not even on the bench. So another staggering indictment is an unpredictable so far reign under Nuno Espirito Santo. I just think Man United's threat is going to have a little bit too much for us tonight. They're at Old Trafford. We historically don't do well there. Yes, I know we won last year and we won in the Cup a few years ago, but wins at Old Trafford for West Ham are few and far between, it's fair to say. And I don't think our current squad and team is up to the task to try and add to that tally of wins at the Theatre of Dreams. But Everton did it last week, and then they went and got battered against Newcastle, the Fulham game. So listen, the Premier League is littered with unpredictability at the moment. There's 5-4s and 4-3s and all sorts flying all over the place, and no one really knows what is going on. The table has not really taken shape, and we're just sort of in a sort of state of not really sure, unpredictable nature. And again, could we see an unpredictable result tonight? West Ham pulling it out of the bag? I really do hope so. Callum Wilson surely can only play 60 or 70 minutes tonight, tops. So then who's going to come on? He's going to have to put Bowen up front and then bring Earthy on, maybe. So again, that's not positive. So I've really got a question whether if Fulkrug and Guilherme aren't injured, then I've really got to question the decision making tonight, because he's completely, our squad's thin enough as it is. Our squad is paper thin. To then go and drop two players that will probably either start or come on tonight, because when Wilson gets tired on an hour, what are we going to do? Put Bowen up front? Well, that just nullifies all of Bowen's threat, if at all, because Bowen's been poor in recent weeks. So I just find it really bizarre, and yeah, Bowen needs a game tonight, absolutely. And he's not going to have a game if he's playing 40, 30 of the remaining minutes in the second half up front, because it's not his game. He looks even worse up front than he does on the right wing. And he doesn't look great there at the moment. So I'm just really struggling to get on board with what Nuno's trying to achieve here. He's going to make me look a right plonker in about 2.5 hours' time when we win 2-0. But I'll happily be proven wrong in that sense. I feel the likes of Cunha, Fernandez, Mbeumo, Zirkzee, and Mount to come off the bench. I just feel like they're going to have a little bit too much for the Hammers tonight. And I think I'll echo the 3-1, to be honest. I mean, one thing I will say is the first goal again is absolutely pivotal. If they score early, then we could fold. I could really see that tonight. Away from home, 3 games in a week, 3 games in 7 days. We're in the middle of that. A thin squad, morale's low, we're in the relegation zone. If we concede early, then it could slide to something rather nasty. I spoke to Nigel, who's at Old Trafford about an hour ago, and he wasn't confident. I don't think anybody is, to be totally honest. It's wet up there, it's miserable, and I'm sensing a miserable performance from West Ham this evening. But I will rejoin you on the full-time whistle, where hopefully I am eating my hat, not that I have one in the immediate vicinity, and hopefully I'm proved wrong, and West Ham can turn up tonight and put in a proper shift. Nuno really doesn't like an attacking sub, does he? I mean, it's baffling, isn't it? He's left all of those attacking players, or he's left 2 of the attacking players out of the squad, and he's put it with, he's littered the team with, littered the subs bench, sorry, with youth players. And I mean, he loves a negative change, doesn't he? Like, part of the bus at any given opportunity, and the subs bench indicates that again tonight. If it's 0-0 at half time, don't be surprised if he makes a negative substitution. That just seems to be the way he is going, and this is going to be a Moyes-esque monumental part of the bus from West Ham tonight. And I just hope that we don't concede early and it all unravels and unfolds before our very eyes. Keep it tight. I mean, one thing that I will say, I will heap some praise on the defenders, because I thought we have defended a little bit better in recent weeks since Nuno's come in and he's made the impact. But Tadebo's looked a lot more solid, and I think we have looked a lot more controlled in that area. I mean, it couldn't have got much worse. I will also take that point on board, because it was pretty chaotic at one point at the back. But we do seem like we're in a better defensive situation than we were, say, a month, 6 weeks ago. So maybe that's something to hold on to tonight if we are just going to defend. But it might also send us to sleep. But that is it from me. Put your thoughts into the comment section. I will see you back here on the full-time whistle, where I regret to inform you, I think I'm going to be discussing probably a 2 or a 3-1 victory for Man United. But let's hope not. Let's hope that the Hammers can get over the line and nick a point away from Old Trafford. Let's hope there's no waterfall-based feature inside Old Trafford tonight with all this rain bucketing down. And hopefully it's not indicative of West Ham's performance. Thanks, everyone, for getting involved in the chat. I'm going to predict a 3-1 loss. Unfortunately, with that lineup, I just cannot muster any confidence at all. But there's hope, just a smidgen of hope that Man United might go back to their old ways and be very, very poor. But from me, come on, you Irons, and we'll see you soon right here on West Ham Official. Thank you very much. Half an hour until kickoff at Old Trafford. We'll see you soon. Bye bye.